I believe I have a combination of education, experience, and training that's kind of unique. One of the major factors locally in Jefferson County in terms of the population dynamic is Fort Drum. I am a veteran. I'm a combat veteran. I served in Vietnam. I spent 4 years on active duty with the Army. And then after a lengthy break in service, I went back into the Guard and Reserve program, and I served both in the Army National Guard and the Air National Guard. My previous positions as a Chief of Law Enforcement at Fort Drum and as a Chief of Police Services at Aberdeen Proving Ground, I think that the sheriff needs to be someone who communicates and works effectively with military law enforcement, with the other federal entities in the area, the Customs, Border Patrol people, as well as the state police and the villages and municipalities. And I think that I would be better plugged into all of these constituent groups and sub-communities within the county than the present sheriff is.
I've worked every unit or department in there, from the jail through dispatch, road patrol, detectives, narcotics. And I guess the biggest one is I have been sheriff for 8 years. I actually started in the tri-village of Glen Park, Brownville, and Dexter, where I was made deputy chief. I went to work after that with the Park Police part-time, and also I worked for the village of Alexander Bay, at which time when Chief Vern Burrows retired, I was placed as the chief of police in Alex Bay. And, so I was the chief for 6 or 8 months before I made a decision to go full-time at the sheriff's office. That in itself is experience that he doesn't possess, and I feel there is a difference between the law enforcement and the civilian population than there is in the federal government. What we're seeing, where we're spending a lot of money, is the overcrowding of the jail. As of Friday, I had 34 inmates being housed out in other counties, and that's anywhere from Broome County to Clinton County. So I have people on the road every day transporting prisoners. So we got to concentrate more on that.
I would immediately seek to reduce the economic footprint of the Sheriff's Department. I would look at discretionary expenditures, and I would look at planned expenditures. I would go over them with a fine-tooth comb. I would take a look at the proposals that are on the table now, as well as the present practices, and wherever I could return value to the voter, I would reduce the economic footprint.
Some other programs out there that we're trying to get going this year. One is the SHAPES program, which is the parking enforcement for handicap. We get volunteers that will go out and actually issue parking tickets for people that are parked in fire lanes or handicap parking spots. Right now, especially this time of year, we get several calls to go out into the shopping malls and the town centers and everything else for just this type of problem. The deputies are, tied up on other investigations, so by the time they get to it, that person may have been gone. The SHAPE program is just some volunteer people that will be trained by us. Certainly during the training they'll be told, don't confront anybody, don't have any problems. If somebody comes out, just walk away. We already have the plate number, so a deputy can respond out there at some point and issue the ticket.
In my past positions in law enforcement, I've executed law enforcement intelligently through the use of patrol distribution plans, which are based on crime mapping and crime statistics to see where the greatest impact is needed. There's a lot of information that goes to the sheriff's deputies when they go on the road every day. They get a patrol briefing that tells them who's been arrested, who there's a warrant for, who's on the watch list, and all those other kind of priorities. I presently work for the Village of Cape Vincent Police Department as a police officer, and we get very little communication, if any at all, from the Sheriff's Department. The first thing that I would do would be to make law enforcement in this county a collective effort and include everyone in the information and resource sharing, because that's synergy. That's a combination of resources to give you that multiplication factor that increases your capabilities without increasing your expenditures. I think it's a sense of personal satisfaction that comes from knowing that your contribution can make a difference in the life of other people. I'm just that kind of person. I'm a person who believes that the good in life comes to you when you do good things for other people.
The biggest reward is just helping people. We get calls in there every day, not one thing or another, and for us to be able to respond to the calls and assist people, that's the reward we get.